Welcome, everyone, to this edition of Talented Universe. And we have a very, very special guest on today. But first, I'm going to introduce Marcia, my co-host, one of my co-hosts. Marcia, how are you dealing with wonderful weather today?
I am having a fabulous day, made better now by this live interview.
Yes, and Greg, how are you doing?
I am doing awesome. It's cooled down a bit in the Northeast, so we're happy about that. Air conditioners off, windows are open. How are you, Michael?
I'm doing great. And Greg, I would like you to introduce our wonderful guest for today.
Oh, it would be my pleasure. Today we have Callum McGowan, who is currently, hopefully you're watching because he's known for Vikram Chamberlain on the Librarians, the next chapter, currently airing the first season on TNT and currently filming their second. Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, go for some questions, Greg, first.
Awesome. So the character of Vikram, so my first question is, you just before we went live, you mentioned it was 40 degrees C, which is pushing low 90s in Fahrenheit for those of us in the States still on the Fahrenheit scale. That's pretty warm. Your costumes are quite heavy looking. You have beautiful long, I can't remember the type of coat they call, but it's a long-tailed coat
type thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Made of heavy leather or what seems to be carpets and curtains and everything else, made by the amazing team here in Ivana, who designs all the costume pieces for me. But yeah, and then I'm wearing a 3-piece kind of suit underneath as well. So, and then I'm wearing long boots. So yeah, I'm getting pretty hot, getting pretty warm. And then Vikram doesn't stay still very long. So
no,
you can imagine.
So when you're outdoors or in under hot studio lighting, how much time do you get to cool off between takes and
not much. I mean, we do have obviously our trailers with aircon and stuff like that, but I just suffer for my art like any good artist would. So that's what I do.
Awesome. Marcia, any introductory questions for our guest?
Well, when I approached this show, I am not one who actually saw too much of the Librarians in the first take. So I come to this with fresh eyes. And so I love that this group is good for anybody to be introduced to. When you were looking at the character before you got cast, I understand that you have a particular penchant maybe for sword play and and that might have been something that you had with your audition or your first takes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I was a child who was obsessed with knights and Arthur and the Round Table and things like that, and so I always kind of had, my mum has numerous kind of images of us dotted around the house of me dressed like Prince, not Prince the singer. That was
Prince.
Yeah, no.
Are you going to sing Purple Rain for us?
I say this, I was dressed as the Prince. I was the only prince in my house, but obviously to you guys, another one. I was a prince. And then at drama school, we studied something called Chinese opera, and there's a lot of stick fighting in that. So I did kind of a lot of stick fighting. And I remember when I got the audition, it was the first audition I had, but they specifically mentioned a stick. So I thought, finally, now I can really do something now. So I did do a little twirl in my audition, but nothing too fancy. Mm-hmm. But no, I think with as you said before, that you can come to this new show without watching the previous shows, and that because the credit to the writing of Dean, the world he's created, and the fabulous writers we have, that they kind of fill in those gaps for you, that you can take it as you want and roll with it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
I'm going to take a couple of questions from the chat room. Justin always has the good questions. On a scale from 1 to 10, Callum, 1 being not at all, and 10 being you are that person, how much do you relate to Vikram?
Well, I mean, Bluey says that the character is actually Callum, and that I am really Vikram Chamberlain because I have fun with him, and I get to, you know, as an actor, I get to kind of do those things I'm not allowed to do in my normal life. Vikram is incredibly confident, and he's verbose and he's intelligent. I mean, I don't think I can attest to as much as his intelligence. But I think we do share a lot of DNA. I mean, you can't really help it when you're an actor. Sometimes you have to put yourself in the role you're playing. But I would love to be Vikram entirely, but not yet.
Cool. And Ghosts in My Forest is asking a question for Ashley, who couldn't be here. She would like to know if you've ever seen the miniseries The 10th Kingdom. And she says, as Vikram feels a lot like Wolf. Have you seen the 10th Kingdom?
No, I haven't. I haven't seen the 10th Kingdom. I will make.
So this will be a hard question to even ask. So
maybe, yeah. I mean, but I like the idea. But I like the idea of him, you know, in any kind of relation to a wolf of some kind.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Vikram Chamberlain would like that description of himself very much.
And honestly, then we'll have to have you on again so you could answer that question for them.
Indeed, I'll go. I've just made a note of the show, so I'll check it out after this.
Yeah, and then Ghosts in My Forest says, when preparing for Vikram, were there any books or other media you consumed to get into character or learn more about the background he would have been living in the Victorian age?
I mean, I've said before that the writing was so strong that when I first read the pilot episode that I was sent for my audition, I saw Vikram incredibly clearly. And sometimes you get scripts like that, and you know they're a blessing as an actor because you kind of trust your initial instinct. And I saw how I perceive Vikram to be so clearly. So I didn't really need to on this job go into a kind of full breakdown of research in that sense. But I mean, growing up in England, we are constantly reminded of our Victorian heritage, etc., etc. So you can't really escape it growing up in England. So I already had some information about our monarchies and etc., and the Industrial Revolution and stuff like that. So, and I'm a history nerd, so I kind of constantly read up on things like that myself.
Okay, cool. Well, this is the last one I'm going to do in the chat room. Then I'm going to go back to Greg. This is kind of an interesting question. Which invention of the modern era would you think would scare Vikram the most, in your opinion? Or has scared him the most?
You know, maybe something like a car wash would be absolutely terrifying. But I think Vikram is, you know, at one point he is like a puppy or like an alien dropped from Mars, and that everything is weird and wonderful. But then I think at his heart he wants to see, I don't know. I think I say it in the first episode. I say, I hope in this modern era you've solved all the world's issues and we finally found some kind of peace. And I think probably modern warfare he would be absolutely terrified by, because nothing will help him with that stick in the sword. I think he would be absolutely terrified about how war is fought today. I think, not to bring anything down. Sorry,
Greg.
Okay, so last night I went and watched Raven's Hollow.
Oh wow!
What
okay,
a different character. So that was set in late 1800s, New York State. Can you talk a little bit about how you prepared for that type of character? And
yeah, well, I played, sorry, go finish. Sorry.
No, basically just trying to further vocalize the thought. Sorry.
No, I mean, I played a grave digger. So I didn't really do much grave digging to prepare for the role. But I did get back on a horse, which was quite fun. So I hadn't ridden for many years. So to finally, you know, ride a horse in a film is kind of every actor's dream. And until you meet the horse and you realize I'm way in over my head here and I'm going to get thrown off. But no, it was obviously the accent and then meeting the team over there. And then throwing yourself into that amazing world. I mean, that set you saw has all been built as well. And that was
I thought so, yeah.
And that was in Latvia. So that was in Riga. In Riga, we shot that film. It's amazing studios, outdoor lot. But no, I really like that little film. It's a great little horror film. and the actors they got on board were fantastic. So it was a great ride.
Yeah, it was a very interesting premise about the early inspirations for Edgar Allan Poe. It's currently available on AMC Plus under the Shudder label.
Yeah.
For people that would like to see it. I will hand it off next to our Marcia.
Well, since we're in kind of not the Wayback Machine, but I'm going to go a little way back for another role that you played, and you're such a chameleon in some ways. Jamestown.
Yes, Jamestown. Yeah.
You played a bit of a cad, which I had watched before I had even known about this series. So it's kind of fun when you see somebody in a role that you've seen before, and then you see them now, and you go, "Oh, there he is."
Yeah. Well, I'm baby faced in that as well. That was that was my first TV job. I never. And so you're kind of whipped away to Hungary and shooting just outside Budapest. And again, I'm very lucky. They built all of Jamestown, so everything you see is on location. That's and that really is like being a child in a kind of dress up box, because we had there were live animals, there were live pigs and sheep, and I mean they had a working blacksmith kiln and a church, and then again working with some incredible actors, Steve Waddington, Bernie Gorman, just name Sophie Rundle, just to name a few. And that was and I played this young soldier, disillusioned, and then taken under the wing of a ne'er-do-well, should we say. But yes, I'm very, very young in that. Well, I'm still young, obviously, darling. I'm still my age, but back then, anything was possible.
And then also you scuba. You did a role in which you did some scuba diving into the deep.
yeah. When you say it out loud, it is kind of ridiculous. The kind of life that you've been so lucky to do, So yes, we was over in Thailand, and we shot in Bangkok and Krabi, and I lied on my CV a little bit too much. You can scuba dive, easy. Breathe underwater, but no, luckily they knew we were lying, and they took us out firstly in a swimming pool, then out into the ocean, and that was incredible. And then your manager calls you and says, I've got a job here, and it's shooting in Thailand, would you like to do that? And you're like, oh yeah, go on then, not gonna do it. Do you want to see the script? No, not really. No, that was a great experience, and Richard Dreyfuss is in that film as well. So I'm a very, very lucky person that I get to travel the world and work with amazing people, and and one day people will figure out that I'm not talented at all, and they'll say, well done, you got away with it this long. But no, here are your plane tickets, and go home, and I'll return with my tan and many stories to tell.
I don't know. You've gone from doing mostly shorts, right, to being the lead of a major franchise.
Yeah, I don't know. There's lots of pinch me moments, that it kind of gets overwhelming when you think about it in that sense. But I don't know. And I started in theatre as well for the first few years of my career, and playing to audiences where we outnumbered the audience 10-1. Desperately going up another country trying to find audiences and things like that. So it's been amazing the last 15 years or so of my jobs. So.
Do you, off on that note, traveling, with all the places you've been, I'm going to ask two-part. One, so far, what's the place that has surprised you the most? And what place would you like to go and film at or in?
That's a great question. Well, I mean, obviously not just because I'm still employed in this job, but Serbia was a big surprise, because I'd never really known anyone from this part of the world, and and you kind of come in, with your kind of nonsense pre-ideas of what a place is and what the people might be like. And then it's such a wonderful thing when you come here, and then you everything is wrong, and the city's amazing. I really enjoy it, obviously, but it's the people here that I find who are the biggest attraction. On our set, on a normal film set, you might get groups of, your lighting, your camera rigs and everything else. And it's kind of a little bit like the canteen in Mean Girls. Everyone kind of goes in their groups and things like that. But here in Serbia, they all know each other incredibly well and they lift each other up. And they obviously go back years and years. And there are some guys who did the Outpost here with Jess.
Yeah.
They're still working together in this, and they kind of, and they lift you up when you're low. And I never had that on a film set until this one. So I definitely say Serbia, and the food here is incredible. The food here is incredible.
Before you go any further, have you tried their ice cream?
I did. I had some ice cream last night. I was thinking about rubbing it all over my body because I was so hot. Luckily, I didn't go for it in the end. I did it the normal way.
Yes, the ARC actors have told us about ice cream in Serbia, and they just love it. So
it's pretty good. It's pretty good. But no, and then the second part of your question, I'd love to go work in the States. I'd love to go over there because in England we grow up with American media. We grow up with so many things. I think that's maybe one of the reasons why we can do American accents is because we hear it
all the time.
But and then I just got back from New York, and you still go, you're still like you're in a movie. So I'd love to go over there and do something in the States. So fingers crossed I get a chance.
Yeah, here's an interesting question. Greg will get a kick out of this one. Sawan asks, speaking about roles, would you like to portray the Doctor Who, and maybe Vikram is the Doctor Who with him time traveling?
Wow, that's a joining of two worlds. I mean, it's growing up in England again. Doctor Who is kind of
big
staple show. It's a big. Everyone, families watch it together, especially around Christmas. But no, I'm the librarian now.
You've got your own thing,
Doctor. But funnily enough, I did a job with the current Doctor, so you can see us in a racing game.
Oh, okay.
If you wanted to do that. I don't know why you might, but you might.
Yeah, well,
the Doctor and the Librarian have met before.
Interesting.
Yeah, and Sarah says, "I wish I wasn't at work right now." So I think she wants to ask questions, but she's being watched, so she can't do too much offline. So
Sarah, that's why you block a late lunch hour.
Yes, that's true. That is exactly true.
Mama didn't raise no fools, you know what I'm saying?
No, and the last one I'm going to ask for a little while, it's from Space Phobos. Vikram is a cane user, and as a disabled person, I was wondering if you had any insight on whether Vikram is using it simply as a fashion accessory, or because he's from the 1800s, or is it an aid? Do you have any idea?
So it's quite funny with Vikram. Everything is an extension of himself. So the stick is definitely an extension of himself, but he uses it obviously to kind of further accentuate what he means. He uses it as a communication device as well as everything else. But he's also got his sword in there as well.
That's true. We found that out in.
But I always took it as it was a magical item from the library. I always took it that it wasn't his at first. But obviously, of course, back in the Victorian times, they would have used canes as fashion accessories and things like that. And Vikram is, he loves himself that much that he would accept any accessory that makes him look cuter. But no, he uses it as an aid in different situations.
Okay, Greg.
So, trying to avoid spoilers.
Please do.
Things that have already been on screen in and around the Annex, or things that have been part of the first 6 episodes. The first part of my question is do you have a favorite artifact?
Because this is the dangerous territory you get in.
Yeah.
This is when because I might have already met my favorite one
later.
You haven't seen it.
And we can't talk about that yet.
And you might not be able to. Yes, you might not be able to talk about it. This is what I'm trying to scrape through my memory.
We're perfectly fine with you saying I can't say what it is yet.
Yeah, that's fine. If that's the answer, that's fine. Because
I can't say what it is yet, but
okay,
awesome.
It's very, very good.
Okay, second part of your question, Greg.
Is there any artifact from history, real or supernatural, that you would like to have be part of the show?
I mean, I've always been fascinated with Egypt, so I think Tutankhamun's mask, his death mask, would be pretty cool. That there's something happens with that. That would be quite cool. What else? And there's, I don't know if you know about the kind of the armor that was, I think it was in Sutton Hoo, where there was I think Ray Fiennes did a film called The Dig with Carey Mulligan about it. It's very good. It's on Netflix, I think. But it's about the kind of this treasure that was found in Sutton Hoo under these mounds, and there's something. It could be something quite cool there about finding some Viking armor, cool. Like that, which would be quite cool. Yeah, get the Norse, because obviously we're in Europe now, and there's so much here that even I don't know. There's some Serbian stories, for example, we've gone through. This the Drakovac, for example, in episode 1. That's a story. So I had no idea. So there's obviously so much here that we can find out. So
that's awesome, Marsha. Remember what time you're on?
Vikram is such a physical character, as his movements are, he loves to gesture, and I'm laughing because I remember an episode where you were dancing and you had headphones. Can you tell me about? You remember that? That scene?
I do. I remember that one because it was a very hot day, and I think I did the dance about 25 times. 25 times too many, I think. But yes, I mean that was something that I really enjoyed. Obviously, it's just silliness. I think that Vikram is so much fun to play because he wears a million masks and he's a performer and he does a lot of things for other people's benefits. And at times we've seen in the series, I think you've seen that sometimes the mask comes off and he's quite a still, quite a lonely person. But then that kind of performer in him wants him to do jazz hands everywhere he goes and stuff like that. So it's, I don't know, but it's a joy to do. It's a joy. It's an absolute joy.
So are you a dancer also?
I think you saw that on the dancer, all right? Honey? No, I'm not known. I'm not known for my dance moves. No, I'm afraid not.
Well, tagging on to the physicalness of Vikram, we have seen him in the latest episode being pulled by the pendulum.
Yeah.
And in the House of Cards. Now, how practical was that? Was that all you, or how did that?
Yeah, that was all me. And it is, I mean, practical in the sense that I'm just arching my back and kind of imagining being pulled. But I mean, I'd love to take credit for that. But I think Noah Wiley actually set that up in the original series. Oh. I was showing a video of how Noah Wiley pulled himself, and I had to kind of match that as much as I could. But I might have added a little bit of a Vikram flair.
Mm-hmm. Well, both those scenes make me think of fan favorite thing, which is bloopers.
Yes, there will be a lot. There are a lot of them out there. I don't know where they are. I'm worried for the day they all come out, but there will be a lot. Yeah,
we are looking forward to them.
Yeah, good. I'm glad someone is. That's good.
Okay, we have a question from Braden Silva. Playing a man out of time must be really awesome. And like with the Eiffel Tower, are there any other specific landmark you believe that Vikram would resent?
Yes, but I'm trying to think of maybe ones that are in America because, but definitely the maybe the M25 in England, which is a very big motorway, which everyone hates. But I don't know what other kind of big structures would he hate. Because something like Vikram, he can love something and then hate it the next moment. So I'm just trying to think.
Yeah.
And I'm also trying to think about America as well. So did you ever see the Millennium Dome in London? That's now the O2 Arena. He'd hate that. I think I don't know. I think he's a romantic. I think if it doesn't look like Paris or, traditional things like Charles Dickens novels, he's not going to like it very much. So.
And Ruin says, I love Vikram's contemporary fashion. Do you have a favorite between his purple coat and his blue leather one from the pilot?
Well, this is about
any other.
This is about me being hot. So the blue one I will always probably love the most, because there was the first time that I put on Vikram's skin. And then there's a big thing that when you get ready in the morning in your trailer, I might come in looking so cool. But then I go into my trailer and I come out as Vikram, and I'm now I'm wearing that skin. So I'll move differently and everything, and I'll flow different. You know what I mean? That coat has an energy of its own. So I think the first time, especially when I said the words, I'm Vikram Chamberlain, I'm the librarian, and I'm wearing that blue coat. So I think my favorite will always be the blue coat.
And on to that, when we have Ivana on in the next couple of weeks, do you want us to say that, we think that she should put an air conditioning unit underneath the suit for you, to help out a little bit?
I think you should definitely try that.
Okay, I'll put that down on one of my questions.
Maybe introduce some Victorian hot pants as well that he could wear. And I don't know, a kind of, what are those kind of vests that are all see-through? One of those.
Oh, okay.
It might be very different.
I'll mention it. I'll mention it.
I'm writing that down.
That doesn't sound very Victorian.
Yeah. Well, look, you weren't there. You don't know what they were. They could have wore hot pants.
Tell Dean you want a clubbing episode. Go to a rave.
Yeah, we've seen our rave. Yeah, for a mission. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And Charlie has to get you into
fishnet vest. Yeah, fishnet is what I was going for. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. And Linda has, this is, if you're not allowed to say, then don't say. Is there a piece of, whoops, I'm sorry, I just hit somebody else's comment. Maggie says, is there a piece of modern technology that you think Vikram would absolutely love? He seemed to enjoy headphones quite a lot. Boy, did he. But is there anything else?
I think he'd be amazed with something like a freezer. That he would say, you've somehow brought the Arctic here into your front room, and then he'd just keep getting in it and getting cold and coming back out again, or getting himself locked. I think being able to freeze food might amaze him. Ice cream, he might be quite. I mean, they might have had ice cream.
Yes,
they didn't have ice cream back then, so no, maybe not ice cream, but yeah, maybe a freezer. He might be amazed by a freezer. Yeah,
and Linda's question will be the last one, but do you foresee Ivana making you any other clothes that are more modern for you?
Yeah, we did speak about, would as Vikram, continues in this modern world, would he start adapting his costume? Would he maybe have a pair of trainers? That everything else is the same, but he wears a pair of trainers because they can run faster. And that'd be quite funny. But then the whole thing about Vikram is that he thinks he's the best dressed person in the room. He thinks they all look stupid. So why would he change? So he kind of sticks to his guns in that sense. But it hasn't come up yet, but maybe it will. Maybe we'll see something like that in the future.
Yeah, season 7.
Season 7, yeah. Yes, season 8, season 85, and I'm still here.
Mm-hmm. That's the way it works. Greg, do you have anything else to?
Just a quick comment. At the end of the last episode, I'm an old school goth guy, so you really have sold me on trying to bring back the pleated tuxedo shirt.
Yes, well, I'm good. I'm glad. I am happy that I am able to bring some things back.
Maybe after Ren Fair, I'll trim the beard down so it's a more classic looking.
Yeah, the lines here as well. Yeah, the Vikram line. I mean, they've let me get my beard a bit bigger this year. They give me a bit.
Yeah, it looks really sharp.
More movement, because I thought it was a little thin on the ground last year. So.
And the follow-up question, seeing you mentioned your beard, do you get any looks for the old-fashioned cut?
Well. So when we're shooting in the city, as we do a lot, me, Blue, Liv, and Jess will just go for lunch in the city in full costume, and you think people will start looking. They don't care. They don't care. I'm just sat there as Vikram, and they're like, "Would you know what's the starter for this morning and for this evening?" And you're like, "Yes, please tell me what the cucumber soup entails." And they just don't.
That's exciting. That is so fun.
I know, and it's quite fun. Yeah. But no
That's a lot of fun.
odd looks, no really odd looks when I'm out. Well, maybe I do. I just don't see them.
Never care, Marcia.
Well, we talked a little bit before we got on air about fan interaction, and you've been able to be at a couple of fan events. You were at Electricon in October. Was that your first fan convention?
Yeah, that was my first ever. Yeah, and it was quite a wake up. Yeah. And then
Because
New York recently, we met lots of people in New York.
Oh, you did the New York one too. Okay.
Yeah, we showed the first episode in New York at this beautiful place. I can't remember. It's a library there, but I can't remember the name of it. But it was kind of at one point, incredibly exhilarating, exciting, but also incredibly nerve-wracking and everything else, because you just don't, And then we went down to the kind of greet area, and then we were kind of surrounded by so many lovely faces and wanted to say hello and talk to us. So it was quite amazing.
had you practiced your autograph?
No, I hadn't. Maybe I should. Maybe that's just a good point. It's a squiggle. It's a squiggle. This doesn't look good. I need to put a love heart in there somewhere, or make.
Yeah, because I hope we're going to be able to see you locally here in the U.S. at some fan events. So you better practice.
I'll get practicing. Marcia, I'll get practicing right away. I'll get a glittery pen for the occasion to really make it sparkle.
And my last Vikram visual is I want to see you swinging in or out on a chandelier. So.
Yes, I'm all for that. I also want to do like a rope where I use the cane over my head and I can.
All right.
Maybe we have it. Maybe we don't. We'll see.
Maybe we'll look for it.
Yeah. Callum, is there anything that stood out for you either at Electricon or the New York showing that you did not expect? Fan interaction, or
No, I mean, everyone I met was incredibly lovely and gracious and patient, and they were more excited about the show. And I think that's something about this show is really connected with the fan base, that we don't own this show. We're along with the same ride. We're not even custodians of the show. We feel just as lucky to be a part of it as people are about it coming back into their lives. So, I don't come with any kind of expectation at all. And I didn't see anything that made me not want to be more a part of the world.
Yeah, I will say when I was at Electricon, and you, Jessica, and Bluey were on stage, I could just tell you had a connection then. And I guess then you had already filmed all of season 1.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what I think what got me was like, I went, boy, they've really got a connection. I felt it there.
Yeah, I think we do. I mean, as friends now, we do. We hang out every weekend. Every spare moment we get, we're together. You think we might be sick of each other because it's a small cast, really. We're always
you do compared to the Ark, which is the other show we've done. I mean, that cast is huge. Yeah,
you might get a day to escape, but no, we're in pretty much 5 days. 5 days a week from 7 till 7, and we're there the whole time. So, and we lean on each other. And I think Liv had the best analogy for us as a group. We are each a single chair leg on a broken table, but somehow we all balance each other out, and we get that table straight. But when one of us is missing or one of us is not there, it doesn't work. So, and I think that's how we feel about this, being on the show together, that we all feel very lucky that we found each other.
Yeah, it is amazing. And I mean, after I saw that first act of that, I was sold. I mean, I'd seen the original Librarians, and I just went, oh, another one. And I said, it looks good. But I mean, when Dean showed that and surprised us, it was just like, wow.
Yeah, it's very kind of you to say. And I think, it's just a lovely thing that we were able to find each other on this job. And we felt it quite early on as well. So yeah, long may we stay together. With the new Beatles, you see.
Well, I think so.
Without the singing.
We're taking over the world.
Exactly. And Siwan asks, would you like Vikram to meet Flynn?
Yeah, definitely I would. Yeah, and I think as Dean's already said, there will be more faces coming back from the original shows.
From the original show, yeah.
Yeah, and obviously it'd be great to, I grew up growing Noah's work, and it'd be lovely to kind of bring those two worlds together. But we'll see, fingers crossed.
And here's something, it's years ago now. How was it having Dean direct the first episode of this new Librarians for you? Had you ever worked with him before?
No, I'd never worked with Dean before, but it was amazing. Dean is the master librarian. So as an actor stepping into a world, you're going to have a million questions, and who's the best person to ask? It's got to be Dean Devlin. So, and it's obviously I've known Dean's work as well for years. I remember watching Stargate, the original film, about a million times on VHS, and obviously Independence Day and everything else. So, and that's another thing, when you're younger and you're a young actor, you don't think you'll ever be able to meet these people who are such a massive part of how you've engaged with stories over the years. And then there they are all of a sudden telling you to calm it down, Callum. Less is more. No, he never said that. He'll never say that about Vikram. But no,
Vikram.
and Dean's always a phone call away. He always said, text me, call me, any time of the day, he'll get back to you. And he always does. I think he's regretting that now, but but
then if they're good questions and he wants you to have the right answer, so it works. I mean, he's got that vision.
Yeah,
and I mean, it's great.
Yeah, no, he is. He's a tour de force. So to be anywhere near his slipstream is one that's I'm very lucky to feel.
Are you looking forward, after you do 12 seasons of The Librarians? Would you love doing another Dean Devlin production?
I think Dean knows that if he called me, I'd be there in a heartbeat. But as we were talking about my other work, I love doing something that's really different the next time, but so there's something very much about Vikram that I feel, I don't know, akin to, very, very close to, and I don't think I want to let him go. So this is one I'd love to keep going back to do if people will have me. Who cares about the other three? I'll get my own show and we'll do it that way.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Just have some fun.
Just I don't know. He gets frozen for another few more 100 years and then wakes up on the ark or something.
There you go.
We did say
even wilder.
We did say because they've just started shooting season 3 of the ark.
Yes, they did.
Moment where their doors go up and then the magic door comes. Vikram pops his head out. And
what is that?
Goes back.
Yeah. Just going off on a totally different tangent now that'll get everybody mad in the chat room if they haven't seen the Ark. Have you been able to go on the set of the Ark yet?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
I will do. Trust me, I'm going on there because it looks amazing. And also, I want to know how it works because you watch the show, but there must be someone pushing a door. It can't be. I don't know what to expect. But it'd be great to go. And some of them came on our set, so I'm going to go check out their set.
Well, yeah, they came on. It's just, of course, yeah. They invaded you. You get to invade them.
I'm looking at my monitors, I was like, hey, or Pete. So yeah.
Yeah.
Christy and Reese shared a little video that Dean reposted. So.
Oh yes.
I'm sure they'll be excited to get you in when they can and poke your nose around.
I think they've started. They're well underway now. So I'm looking forward to it. And by all accounts, it sounds like an incredible series.
Just a warning. They all told us when they first got on that set, they got lost.
Oh, right.
So just be prepared.
Where's
breadcrumbs or whatever?
Yeah. Where is he? Hello?
Or take your control for the magic door so you can get back where you.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I'll
take a flare gun. It'll be fine.
Mm-hmm. Marcia, do you have anything else or?
Well, I do have a totally different question. Okay.
Those are good, usually.
Callum, you like us so much that you're inviting us all over to your house for a dinner.
Oh, really? Oh, good.
Aren't we lucky? And you are going to fix us dinner. So okay. I want to know what is going to be on the menu for a nice dinner for us.
Okay. So for so what I do is I do a really good cavolo nero salad with lemon and garlic and what they call the pomegranate seeds. And then you shave a celeriac in that as well. And you just do that raw. That's a great salad. And then I'd make homemade flatbreads.
Ooh.
Yes. Oh, yes. With rosemary and salt and olive oil, obviously. And then I might do something like a 6-hour ragu or something that I've been cooking the whole day. And then I'll serve that maybe with some fresh pasta. I'll pretend I've made, but I bought it from the shop. And then for dessert, something incredibly boozy like tiramisu, but with added, or something flambéed, just because you can see me set the kitchen on fire.
Ooh, lovely.
Yeah,
we'll expect our invitations in the mail. All right.
Oh, wait, don't worry about it. I'll be coming. It will say you've been cordially invited by the Metropolitan Museum to come and eat my food.
Excellent. I'm done.
You're done? Okay. Greg, do you have anything else?
We're all starving.
Before we let,
Right.
After Marcia just talked about food, we got to let him go have his dinner. But,
definitely. I mean, that's a cruel question to ask.
When he told us he was...
I would just like to close. Thank you, Callum, for joining us. We would appreciate if you extend our gratitude and best for the first part of the first season, and best wishes for the filming on the second season to you and your castmates. We're loving the show. We're hoping that a lot of people that we knew that loved the first show can grow to love this one as well once as they're starting to learn about it.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, yeah, thank you so much. It's very kind of you to say, and yeah, I mean, you haven't seen anything yet. The series gets really cool and really kind of crazy, and the finale's big. So, but no,
that's
thank
what
you.
Dean told us. Yeah.
Yeah, but thank you for inviting me on. It's a real pleasure. You guys are sweet, and yeah, it's been very, very lovely. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for coming. Just a shout out. I've been asked, don't forget about the fan groups that are out there on Facebook and Instagram and a lot of other things. I'll try to have some of the links up next week so people can look at them, but we'll probably only put them on our review show because, Callum, we do a review show every week after your episode.
Yes, I know. Yeah.
Oh, you've been one of those ones watching like the other cast of the Ark used to watch ours all the time. We were so shocked when we heard about that. And they go, oh, you were so wrong on this. You were wrong on that.
No, not at all. I wish,
oh, man.
I probably will go back when I get time. I will go back and listen to them.
Yeah, because, I mean, we do crazy things. So it's like whatever we do. But also, it's not set in stone, but what we did with the Ark for the first 2 seasons, we would have a group of the cast members on after the season is over.
That'd be great.
And if we do, we'd love to have you. And if you can tell some of your cohorts over there about us, we would appreciate it.
I will. I'll drag them all under here under free, false pretenses.
Well, yeah, probably.
A lovely meal. It's a barbecue. Come
sell them on your flatbread.
Yeah, you've got ice cream. Yeah.
It's a dark room. It's cold. No one's here. And then I lock the doors. I throw the key away. The laptop starts up. Michael
and they're
says,
stuck.
There you go.
They're stuck. There you go. That sounds good. But anyway, I want to make sure that you get some food, Marsha.
Yes.
But thank you very much for coming. And everyone out there, I tried to get at least one question from everybody. But if I missed you, I'm so sorry. But we did have a lot of people in the chat room. We have a lot of people looking live. Brilliant. And we do appreciate that. So everyone out there, thank you very much. Keep track of, I've got some more guests I've got lined up. As I mentioned, Ivana, the costume designer, she's coming on sometime soon. And she insisted to come after the season finale too. So she's coming on twice to see that. And we've got some other guest stars that are coming on. one that was just in this last episode. Dominic, he was the
Actor.
the actor. Yeah,
Yeah, he was great.
And so he's coming on.
Chauncey,
So-
the actor.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Chauncey. Yeah, whatever. But we're doing that. But everyone, keep a look. ndbmedia.net. See what we're doing, and we'll all see everybody the next time. Bye bye.
Cheers. Thank you. Bye bye.